Hi, it's Daddy again for lecture number 94. 94, okay? I'm having fun with these. I hope you guys are too. The key word is rhino. Let's get that right out of the way. Rhino, number 94, okay? All right, I'm going to talk about Daddy's theology and religion. Now, everybody has got a religion, even if it's no religion. If your religion is no religion, that's your religion. Your religion is no religion. A lot of scientists say we don't believe in God, and so their belief is that they don't believe in God. They believe in science and not God. So you understand, everybody's got a religion. Now, the way you see the world is going to affect how you live your life. So I want you to understand that if you see the world one way, it's going to affect the way you live your life. And if you see it another way, it's going to affect the way you live your life. Now, as a philosopher, instead of a theologian, I started off as a minister, a young minister. I was actually preaching, and I was up there yelling and hollering and trying to get people to listen to me, to my preaching messages. And time went by, and one thing led to another, and I left the ministry and decided I wasn't going to do that in life. I was always curious about everything, and people that are curious frequently lean towards the area of philosophy. It's said that theologians have the answers and philosophers have the questions. Now, you ladies, I want this to be appropriate to you, and you young men, I want this to apply to your life, because just because you're young people, young men and women, doesn't mean philosophy doesn't apply to your life, because everybody's a philosopher. Everybody has a point of view. I know, for example, Marcy sends me little messages just about every day, and basically it's her philosophy of life, and it has to do with birds singing outdoors and the sun shining and hope Daddy has a good day. And Marcy's philosophy for her daddy, and I think for her too, is to wake up and have a good day, and it's very positive. It's pessimism versus optimism. Pessimism versus optimism. Some people are pessimistic, some people are optimistic. I'm going to talk about my theology. It's on the website, and you can look at this. It's 6 points, 6 simple points. We're going to start with number one. Point number one, there is a God. Now, the fact that I say there is a God, I want to reference a book that this guy wrote, and he says, the more I study the universe, the more I believe in a higher power. A genius wrote that. It was Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was known as a genius. He developed the theory of relativity, and he was very, very famous for his deep understandings of the universe. He said the more he studies the universe, the more he believes in a higher power. Now, he calls it a higher power. It's got lots of names. Islamic people call God Allah. And a lot of people call God God. Jewish people don't like to even pronounce the word, and so they leave that middle symbol out when they write it, G-D. The ancient Egyptians believed in the sun god Ra. There's always a ah sounding in there, ah, like a mantra. But the number one point is there is a God. Now, an atheist says there isn't a God, but I say there is a God. And most people believe there is a God, and that's number one point. Number 2 point is we can know God. The difference between, and I've spent a lot of my life as an agnostic, meaning without knowledge. I spent a lot of my life believing that you cannot know God. In fact, Einstein called God a higher power. Nobody really knows God until we slip over to the other side, and then we probably don't fully know God then either. But we do evolve, evolution, we do grow, we expand. That's always what's happening with all of us. So number 2 thing is that there is a God, number 1, and that we can know God. I believe we can know God. Now, how can we know God? Well, that's a big question, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Number 3 point is that God is everywhere. God's not just up in heaven. God's not hiding from us. I say that God is everywhere. And I wrote a book many 20 some years ago, How Long Have You Been Standing Here, God? And my question was, wow, I didn't realize it, but God's right in my midst the whole time. Now, the fact of the matter is, it's wonderful to know that God is everywhere and that we can have a relationship with God in that God is in all places. So we're capable of understanding that there is no place that God is not. So there is a God. We can know God. God is everywhere. Let's go to point number 4. God is love. I say, we go back to Einstein again. He said, we either live in a hostile universe or a friendly universe. Which is it? Hostile or friendly? Well, we don't know. It seems kind of hostile from the standpoint of planets are flying through space and there's a lot of speed involved and there's a lot of heat involved. And so it appears to be hostile, but on the planet itself, it seems that what makes the planet go around is love. So I say that, and what makes love go around is God, because I think the origin of all love is God. So I'm going to say that God is love. Point number 4 is that God is love. So we have, there is a God, we can know God, God is everywhere, and God is love. Now we go to point number 5. And it's the big age-old philosophical question, why are we here? And I say we are here to grow, to evolve, to learn our lessons. That's why I believe we're here. And that's why it's important to pay attention to what's going on in the world, because we're here to grow, evolve, and learn our lessons. So I think that we're put on the planet, and I think personally, I actually believe we chose to be here, but then that's a controversial subject. A lot of people don't believe that, but I won't get into that now, but I will say this. We are here to grow. So there is a God. We can know God. God is everywhere. God is love, and we're here to grow. And finally is the thing I keep telling you all the time. We are not alone. Point number 6, we're not alone. You're not alone, loved ones. You're not. Number 1, God's presence is everywhere. Number 2, I believe we're all assigned a guide, a guardian, and or an angel. At least one. I believe that. I believe we're all in the accompaniment of some spirit, a good spirit, not spooky, scary, ghostly type spirits, but we're all in the company of a spirit being. I think we can even know our spirit being. We can have a sense of that. But so there's God. There's the presence of a spiritual being or beings that are in support of us. There's also our loved ones on the planet, our friends and family who are with us in our lives. Sometimes they're more harm than good. We know that, but usually, more often, they're more good than harm. So there's that. And then there's also the fact that our departed loved ones are still in our midst. We can still call upon them in a sense to know that they are still conscious and they're still in a state of awareness towards us. So there's that. And then I want to throw in that Daddy's here for you. I'm going to throw that in too. So are you alone? Number 6 point is we are not alone. And I'm saying that God is there. God's spirit beings are supporting us. Family and friends support us. Departed family and friends support us. Daddy supports you too. Okay? So here we go. There is a God. We can know God. There is a God, meaning there's no such thing as being an atheist. We can know God. That means there's no such thing as being an agnostic. God is everywhere. God is all places, and God is love. Number 4, we are here to grow. Number 5, and we are not alone. Number 6. These are my 6 theological points. Now, it gets very complicated for some people, and I'm not going to make it a lot more complicated than that. I'm going to go by the words of Jesus, who said, love God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. And all the commandments are combined and pushed and poured into these 2. Love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. With the mind and the body, love your neighbors, who are everybody, and God with all your heart. Does that make sense? Okay, now we'll get to the good stuff here. I love you guys. I do. I love you so very much. And I want you to know that. My love for you is, I dedicate every day and every night for you. Right now in my life, for the last several months of my life, I'm retired. I live in America, and I've dedicated myself to you guys, to your education, to your happiness, to your welfare, to your protection, to your growth and development as human beings. And it's been a very rewarding experience because you guys are, many of you are growing, evolving, developing, learning more about life, learning more about God. We stay in a state of prayer. We stay in a state of meditation. We continually reach out to God because God is our source of hope and inspiration. Okay? I'm not smiling a lot lately because I'm really in a serious mood. I want you guys to know how deep and profound is God's love for us. Now, does it seem like that's not the case? Does it seem like sometimes that bad things happen? Well, bad things happen for a reason. We don't understand it yet. Someday we'll understand all of what happens in life. Just trust the universe. Trust and believe that we're in good hands, that we're being protected, we're watched over. No matter what happens, I know there are terrible things that happen on the planet. I realize that. And an atheist's number one argument is, if there was a God, why allow all this suffering and turmoil and trouble and disturbing of the peace? Why would all that happen? I'm sorry, but things happen for a reason. We're all challenged in life, and we're all here to grow and evolve. And we'll understand it someday. Once we slip over to the other side, it'll all probably make a lot more sense than it does right now for us. So sometimes it doesn't make sense. God is love. I love you guys. I love you very much. Okay? Come on. Come here. Come here. Tell me how much you love me. Let's love each other. Let's love each other good and hard. Let's love each other for a long time, okay? You guys are great. You're important to me. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being in my life. Love you. Okay, bye-bye for now.